the tools we learned for typography. So the windows you want to use, the window you want to always have open when you're working with typography is window. You're going to hover over type and choose character. Pull this over so we can see it. So this is our character window, and from here we can control our font, our typeface, which is the family of type, and then the font, which is the variable. So this, for example, this type only has one variable, but if we chose something like anything that has the little arrow next to it means there are variants of it, so each of those would be a font. So if we chose Arial, and I could choose if I wanted italic, bold, or bold italic. And I can set up my character before I even start. Let's see, this is how I change the size. 120, that's huge. And it will automatically adjust these things for you. So with your type key, you can either click and release, and that will just put lorem ipsum, just a line of type. And you can type. Or you can click and drag, and that will make you a text box. The text box is going to fill with the type that's already in the character box. So if you wanted to see more text, if you wanted the text to be smaller, you could adjust that beforehand. Say we want 12, grab my text, and I can pull out a text box there. Now I can see what it would look like in 12. So this is a character window, and the two ways of putting type on the screen is either using just clicking and releasing to get one line, or clicking and dragging to get a text box. And that is how you typically would put in text boxes. The automatically filling with placeholder text is really nice because you can see how something will look without having to put the body copy in it. So that's great. When you have a paragraph, a body text, there's a couple things you can do there. So when you open the character menu, the paragraph menu opens right here, and here you can change your alignment. Remember, alignment has to do with the straight edges of blocks of text and also of objects. So here we have center alignment with two rags, so that's uneven on both sides. When we are right aligned, the hard edge is on the right side and soft edge is on the left. The rag, and justified would mean that there's hard edges on both sides. So those are a couple things you can try. Let's put a little check there. Woohoo! Check. Character window. All right, the next thing is to type on a path. So say you want to have type going all over the place. You could have a simple path, geometric line, which would be, you can make that with the pen tool. So I'm going to make a geometric line. Donk. There we go. Or maybe, so I'll hold Option and click off. Or maybe you want to have an organic line. Maybe you want a swirly whirly. So boop, boop, organic, organic. Now I want to put type on these. I click and hold the type tool and go to type on a path. That's going to make it look like the cursor, but also with a little squiggle behind it. And in order to type on this path, I will click on it when it's highlighted. Now, depending on where I click is where the type is going to start filling. So right there, I clicked there, and so the type is filling here. But if I wanted to start it over here, I'd have to click over there. Okay? If you wanted to do the type only over part of it, but you also wanted that path underneath it, so when I do that, if I click off, you'll see it's just the type. The shape is the line is no longer there. So if you want the line to be there too, we're going to move back. So I just press Command Z. I would select this guy, copy and paste, and now I have that. I can click my type on a path there, and then I can move back and forth where the type goes, like by moving this little thing. And I can move this onto the, and I can just move this onto the path. Whee! Or it sort of looks cool off of it like that. That's pretty funky. Same goes here, organic line, type on a path. Now, the smaller the letters, the more precise it's going to follow the path. So if I made these even smaller, it would look even more like the line. And that depends on really what you're trying to accomplish. So type on a path, check. Fill with type is what you would do if you wanted to make a shape that was not a rectangle. So if you didn't want to make a text box, if you in fact wanted to make a star or a circle, or you wanted to just make a random organic shape, you can fill that with text. I'm going to make a circle, so I just grabbed my ellipse tool, which is hidden underneath in the shape tools. And to make a circle, I'm holding shift while pulling it out. And again, when you put fill with type, it's going to disappear the circle. It's just going to create the type within the circle. So if you want the circle as well, you're going to need to copy and paste that. I don't really care to have the circle right now, so I'm going to area type. And again, it's going to look smaller. The smaller your letters are, the more precise it's going to look. So you have to still click on the path when you want to fill with type. You can't just click in the middle. You have to fill. So there we go. And now if I make that even smaller, let's see, I'm going to undo that. Undo, undo, undo. And I'm actually just going to make, so let's make this, I'm going to make this smaller so you guys can see how much more precise it looks when the letters are even smaller. 4 point is tiny. You would never be able to read that. But if you're going for a textural effect, there you go. So that is how you fill with type. And you can do that in any shape. Remember, shapes are closed. So it's what happens when a line meets its own end. I'm going to check that one off. Now, if you are making, for example, when I make logos, after I get the letters exactly how I want them, so let's say, marker felt, yeah. I'm going to use impact because, you know, I love impact. So I'm going to choose impact, and I'm going to make it much bigger. Let's see, I'm going to make it 56. And don't forget, I'm right now on type in an area, so I want to go back to my regular type tool. And I'm going to click lorem ipsum. I'm going to write my name. So if I was making this into a logo and I wanted to do SHTB, but I actually wanted to change the kerning. Oh, whoops, I have to highlight it. I'm going to make it a little bit closer. I want them to like be touching. That's just sort of my jam. That's not very readable, but that's okay. So I really like this, but I want to do something to these letters. Now these letters, as they are vector, but I can't change them. They're just a typeface right now. If I want to change them, if I want to treat these as shapes rather than as characters, I can highlight this text box and go to type and create outlines. And that now has made each one of these its own shape. So if I were to click the pen tool, I would see all the little anchor points that make up the curves of this letter. And I can start manipulating them. Oh, I don't want that one. I don't want that one. I don't want that one. Oh, need to select it again. So I'm just getting rid of this middle And every time I go over the anchor point, if it's an existing anchor point, it will make a minus, and that will tell me that I'm getting rid of it. Yeah, I don't want you. I want my B to be filled in. There we go. There we go. Boop. And goodbye. Goodbye. So now there's no shape there. These are now shapes as opposed to letter forms. Oops. And you can treat them as such. I can pull this T out of here. I can start getting a little bit more experimental with things I wouldn't have been able to do when they were letter forms. So now I can start this. Whew. All right, now that looks sort of weird, but maybe if I start changing the colors of them, or the value, boop. Let's make this one there. I want that one. Oop. And again, I'm going into isolation mode a lot. Well, didn't need to. But basically, I'm just trying to show you that these are now shapes rather than only characters. You cannot do any of the like spacing things anymore because now they're shapes. But this is a funky way to start playing with letters. And that's pretty fun. So there's my new logo. Sort of cool. Create outlines. Check. And the other thing we learned in typography is clipping mask. So say I want this S. In order to make a clipping mask with letters, I don't want them to be all together. In order to make a clipping mask with letters, they have to be outlines. You can't do it with type. So as an outline, if I want this S to be leopard print, for example, I can go in here, go to leopard print pattern, and find one I like. I like this one, funky funky. Pull that in here. And as you can see, this is a rasterized image, so that's why it's pixelated. And I could go over each one of these if it was really important to me to have this pattern. I could go in here and trace them with the pen tool, and then they would be vector. But we're not going to do that in this lesson. So I'm going to arrange this guy and send it backwards. Object, arrange, send backward. Okay, and now my S is on top. So when you're making a clipping mask, you want the thing the shape that you're cutting out on top of the thing you're cutting it out from. And then I'm going to select the S. I'm going to hold, I'm going to actually make this a little bit smaller even. Whoop. Because I really want to be able to see that print in there. And the smaller the print is, sort of like with the letters, the smaller the print is, the more we're going to see in the letter. So I'm going to hold Shift and also select the S. And now I'm going to go to Object, Clipping Mask, and Make. Oh. I don't know why that didn't work. That is normally how you would do it, and I don't want to have to troubleshoot on this video, but typically you would do that. Oh, I think it's because I didn't place the image, so hold on. Leopard print. I'm going to put that in my graphic design folder so that my computer always knows where it is. And then I'm going to, let's try this again. File, place. Leopard print. And let's pull it out here. Bonk. Object, arrange, send backward, and I think we did that twice. Okay, so hopefully this works. Click in the S, click in the leopard, object, clipping mask, make. Oh, darn it. Okay, I'm not sure why that's not working, but it usually does work. So I will, I'll do another mini little thing on that. And that's it for our type tools, I think. Is it? Clipping mask. Yep, that's it.